So this was originally coming from New Zealand, from the Maori. I think it, as I understood it, it was developed after the Maori grandmothers had a sort of protest march saying that they were sick of that the government was removing their children into care without talking to the family, and they wanted to have the first right to decide an alternative plan. And actually, it's a very logical idea. I mean, it's more strange to see why we would not talk to the family first if a child is in problems or the parents have issues. I think parents have a right, or the family has a right to first decide what will happen to the child if the plan is safe enough. But we have now a big problem in the Western society that our culture is like based on privacy, isolation, sort of the right of parents to raise their children in isolation sometimes. And so in New Zealand, the model was developed that parents had the right to talk with their family before removal. They were fighting for that. But in the Western countries, Holland, Belgium, where I teach, probably Finland also, families are fighting for the right not to talk with each other. Maybe even child protection would say, yes, we want to have everybody around the table, that's safer. And then the parents say, no, our family is all bad and crazy, we cannot talk to this family. So in fact, they are fighting for the opposite right as the New Zealand, and we still call it family group conferencing. But it's in a whole different culture. Actually, in our Western culture, we have to find much more answers to how can we motivate parents to share the worries with the network. And I think when I did the conference last week in Belgium with Kelly de Koek from Olmsted, I discovered that in Minnesota, and I think most places in the United States, the family has a right to be notified within 30 days if a kid is coming into care. You have to call all the family members, not just the parents. And in Holland, Scandinavian countries, the parents can say, no, you don't have to contact anybody. Just keep him in the residential facility. That's good for me. So that's a whole different way of looking at it. So it's not in our laws that the child has rights on his family. In our laws, only the parents have rights. And which is, in fact, detrimental to themselves, because at that moment, in their stress and their fear, they cannot decide that it would be good for them to talk with their family. They are just too frightened to do that. But in fact, because of this right, and because we as a professionals give the parents that right, and as our legal system, then in fact we are harming the whole family and the child, because then we're saying residential facility is a good way to grow up. We don't need to investigate the whole family if the parents don't want to. So that's a very weird situation in the Western society, actually, because I think we have driven away from like a family-centered society into a very privatized, isolated way of growing for a lot of people.